Next on Comcast Newsmakers, completing State Route 167 in Pierce County. One Tacoma leader makes the case for why it's so important to secure transportation funding. Next. Hi, welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Sabrina Register. We're at the annual meeting of the Association of Washington Cities and the Tri-Cities. And joining me right now, Randy Lewis, who is Government Relations Officer for the City of Tacoma.
Nice, Randy,
so nice to see you. Thanks for coming on the program. As I mentioned, transportation, a big issue for you all. Really for everybody in the state, I guess, but a particular focus is State Route 167. So talk about why this is at the top of your wish list.
It's the most important project in the state, according to the chair of the House Transportation Committee, including the co-chair of the Senate Transportation Committee, who's from Yakima, and he says it's the most important unfinished project in the state. Right now, 167 begins in Renton at 405 and ends in Puyallup at a dead end, what people used to call it the strawberry field. It's now just a series of small low-impact development. It's about 6 miles away from where it's supposed to go, which is to the Port of Tacoma. It was designed to be a freight highway through the Kent Valley, picking up from the warehouses and taking freight from the Port of Seattle, the Port of Tacoma, and to other parts of the state. And it's been unfinished for about 40 years. So the intention now is to get it done.
So for those who aren't familiar, what happens to all the freight since it's not complete?
What happens is it goes on River Road, which is the existing route of State Route 167, an arterial highway, fine highway, but not designed for today's levels of traffic. It goes on I-5, which is the main commuter highway through Western Washington, and full of people and other freight, and that doesn't need to be there. It goes on back roads through Fife and Puyallup to get into Tacoma. It goes lots of other places because people have to get their freight to the ports. 167 will solve a lot of that problem.
So to say that it impacts traffic is an understatement.
Yes, indeed.
And what happens to, in terms of lost time, what happens to all of that freight? I mean, I would imagine that's a big impact when you have freight that can't get to where it needs to go.
That's right. My friends at the Port of Tacoma tell me that time is their key thing, and one of their advantages in the Port of Tacoma, and as well as the Port of Seattle, is that we're closer to East Coast and Midwest markets than, say, Southern California is, which is why we've had a lot of growth in freight from China and the Far East coming through our Puget Sound ports. But if traffic is getting worse here because we don't have complete roads, then it makes we begin to lose that advantage, because they are investing in their infrastructure in Southern California, which is our main competitor.
So freight companies could go elsewhere.
Very easily.
Right.
Yeah,
so
just sail your ship somewhere else.
Right. So not only lost time, which also can equal money, but eventually it could be lost revenue if someone decides to go, like you said, to Southern California or elsewhere. So transportation improvements require funding, and that is something that has not been secured.
That is right, and it is not a cheap project. It's 6 miles, but it's to build 6 miles with lots of bridges, lots of interchanges over major highways like I-5 and SR-18 and major roads like 167, where it connects in Puyallup. It's about a $1.5 billion project. Most of that would come from a proposed gas tax increase here at the state, but some of it would come from tolling. And then there's also a local component that's expected from local governments and private business.
And so how optimistic are you that this is going to actually become a reality?
I think it's going to happen. It may not happen as quickly as a lot of us would like it to happen, which is like within the next few days.
Or yesterday.
Or yesterday.
Or last year.
But I think it will happen. I believe the momentum is on our side towards funding a new package of improvements, this project plus others across the state, and that we'll get there. I'm really optimistic about that.
So keep the faith.
We'll keep the faith, and we'll also keep on the pressure.
Okay, all right. Well, Randy, thank you so much for talking to us, and of course you'll keep us updated as to what happens to SR 167, completing it. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for watching Comcast Newsmakers.